Happening today, leaders for the city of South Fulton are planning to talk more about data centers. A packed house of people who live there explain why they are against these centers. This happened back in February. The massive warehouse-sized buildings house computers needed to power the internet, cloud services, and artificial intelligence. But here's the problem. Some people and local leaders say these data centers do not bring many jobs to the community, but they tend to use a lot of electricity.
A lot of people will say, oh, you're just against technology, you're just against progress. No. Nobody wants to have, say, a steel mill put in right next door to them. It's the same thing.
Tonight's meeting is at the Etris Community Center in Union City. It begins at 6.